All right. All right, I'm ready if you are. Oh my goodness. Welcome back to the Morning Arcade Show podcast. We're actually pretty lucky that we haven't been sued by Nintendo yet. Why? Because I keep sending my cats to do my battles for me. I'm your host, Buddycat, and with me is...
I'm Ashen, and I haven't told Nintendo or Sony anything about Buddy yet.
Oh, that's good. Thank God. All right. Yeah. We don't need any more lawsuits. All right. So what do you got going on? What's been going on? I know we were just talking about the sliders in Baldur's Gate 3, but what else has been happening?
Oh, man. My book trilogy is the big thing I've been working on, and it's chugging along faster than I expected, which is nice, but partly is because I spend a lot of time writing notes. Like, if you see my desktop right now, it's just book notes everywhere, not organized, not set up, none of that stuff.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah, I've been doing a lot of that work. And what's great is, spoilers, I wrote the ending to the trilogy last night, and I had tears in my eyes. So I feel like, for some reason, I nailed the ending. And
You
I
made
haven't
yourself
even read
cry.
the whole rest of the book. Yeah, I made myself cry. So
Wow. I don't think I've ever made myself cry.
I'm pretty stoked. Like, I literally had to stop writing and go into the living room and sit down and just rest for a bit, because I was like, wow, that's powerful. Partly is because I'm so invested in it, right? I've spent years working and thinking, and so some of the weight of figuring out exactly how the ending should land hit hard. So it was one of those moments where, like, oh, this is it. This is the actual ending. This is how it's supposed to be.
Oh, man. I love it. Well, you've sent me the rough draft for book 2, so I'll probably dive into it maybe this weekend is kind of what I'm thinking. For me, reading a book, I got to really set some time aside so I can focus, so I got to do that. I really enjoyed the first one, but of course, I think I've gushed over your book. I think this is our 10th episode, by the way, which I think I've gushed on your book about 8 of the 10 episodes.
Congrats for the 10th episode, my friend.
That means that we've been doing this for a couple months now, 2.5 months.
Yeah, I think so. And we started up another podcast, and we're talking about doing a very specific podcast for a very specific game.
Was it the Golden Girls one, or?
It's either the Golden Girls one or the Knight Rider one.
Yeah.
Well, before we do those, we should probably do a Final Fantasy VII one.
Oh, yeah, a specific episode, yes. Because, and I'll talk about it in a little bit. Well, maybe I won't talk about it that much, but I finally beat Final Fantasy VII. In fact, that's really all I have to say for me this week. And then I lost my wallet in a little town about an hour away and had to drive there back to go get it, but that's a whole nother story. But I beat Final Fantasy VII. That's probably more exciting than losing my wallet in the forest.
What kind of people are we when we're like, I'm more impressed and more concerned about beating Final Fantasy VII than my whole identity being lost in the forest?
Yeah. You know what? I'll go ahead and mention it real quick before we get into the news, because it's just so stupid. So my dad has been telling me, like, we're always talking about where do you find the best burgers? And he was telling me about this little place in this little town called Klamath, California. I don't even know if it's population 100. It is tiny. It's on the 101. You drive through it. It's kind of famous for having like a tree that you can drive through. Well, off the road, they have a little town. There's this little dive bar. You can't even go in and order the burger if you're like under 21. And he's like, we got to try it. So we drove out there. It took over an hour, and there's construction and all this. And he's right. The burger was amazing. It's like they use like local beef from like a ranch like around the corner. The patty was huge. It was amazing. And it's an absolute dive bar. It's like a cash only kind of place. There's just a few locals sitting there, drinking already at like noon. Like that's that sort of place, right? Amazing. Drive back and realize that I forgot my wallet. I keep my wallet like in a little like man purse kind of thing. But here's the funny part. My mom was with us, and she said the last time they went there, she left her purse. And I made fun of her, and I'm like, you drove all the way home, like over an hour, and realized you forgot your purse? I did the same thing. Literally the same thing. Yeah.
Karma.
So I had to turn around. I came home. Of course, my wife rolled her eyes at me and whatever. And so I just hopped back in the truck.
Here's the burning question, though.
Yeah.
after you ate there, had that delicious burger, was so enamored with the amazingness of the place that you totally spaced your wallet, and you went back to pick up your wallet. Did you get another burger?
I didn't, because it was so huge. I mean, this is, yeah. I mean, I should have got a picture of it. In fact, I might go again. One of my kids' 21st birthday is coming up in, I think, like 2 weeks, and so I think I'm going to take him there.
Oh,
for
nice.
a burger, 21st birthday burger.
Make sure you attach your wallet to you.
Yes. Yeah. You know, maybe I shouldn't have given up on the back pocket. But you know what? I've been doing the man purse thing, the over the shoulder, for about a year and a half now. I made the change. Best change I've ever made. It's the first time I've ever forgot it. I regret nothing. No regrets. No regrets.
No regrets. Oh man. Oh man. Luckily, I've never left my wallet anywhere. I left my debit card at a place one time, but now I have a habit. So like, your debit card is in your wallet typically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I hand my debit card to someone to pay for something, I leave my wallet open until I get the debit card back. So I don't just put it back away and then forget about it. So I know someone else has my card.
Yeah, I kind of do the same thing because it takes a little bit to like put it back in the bag and zip it up and stuff. So
yeah.
All right, well, let's dive into some news. You know, there's a few things, a little bit of drama going on. Sometimes the drama is kind of fun to talk about, but it seems like that's all there is. So I was kind of searching and trying to find a few things that weren't as dramatic. And I found two things. I'm going to put one at the front and I'm going to save the other one for the end. We're going to kind of sandwich the drama in with some fun stuff. And the first thing I have is this right here. If you're listening, you probably can't see this, but if you're watching, you can see it. And so there has been a leak that there's looking like there might be a Donkey Kong Lego arcade machine. And of course, I don't know if this is real or not. I did a little bit of research, and supposedly this Lego leak Reddit subreddit is kind of known for having some accurate predictions, and some of the users seem to know what they're talking about. So this is a picture of the box. And let's see, how many pieces does it have? Let's see, wait till it zooms back out here. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't read how many pieces, but to me, it's already kind of credible just from knowing what it is, because Lego's already done a bunch of like Game Boy ones and all sorts of other. So this seems like it falls right into that wheelhouse.
Yeah, it looks like it's 1,300 pieces and $200 is kind of what they're saying. I mean, this could be complete BS. It's hard, nothing's for sure until it comes out, but I just thought it was so cool. It's the way the Lego logo is on top of it looks really cool too. It kind of looks like they did with the Game Boy, but it looks like kind of taking it to the next level, and it looks like the sliders are going to like move Mario up and down, maybe move the barrels and stuff.
And if it's got lights on it, oh man. That might be something we'd have to add to my collection.
So do you do Legos? Are you a Lego guy? I don't know if I've asked this much.
I do.
I know you got the Thanos hand, which my oldest has that exact same Thanos hand, and I've moved it to college. I've moved it back from college for him, and it's
got the "I love you" thing on it right now because my son.
You put lights in yours, right? Like
yeah, it's got lights on it. I don't know how well it'll turn up on the camera, but yeah, it lights up. So my son and I tend to do Legos a lot, so we have lots of little Lego things that we do, and we put
lights and
stuff on them. Yep.
Because that's an add-on. You did that. That's custom because, like I said, we have that same Thanos hand and it doesn't have the lights.
Yeah. So we will eventually do the Iron Man one also and put it up there. So we'll have the Thanos and the Iron Man one.
Well, that's cool.
Up there.
That is pretty cool. I just, I was so into Legos when my kids were little, and we would spend hours building Legos. I think, like, one of my favorite memories is when my oldest was, I don't know, maybe like 11 or 12, pretty young. It's the first time that we'd stayed up together on like New Year's on midnight, and we completed the Lego Ewok Village like right around midnight. And it was like such a cool memory. But now that they're older, they aren't into Legos, either of them. And so I've kind of fallen out. Like, I'll still go to the Lego store whenever we go to a city and we'll look at it and, like, oh my God, that's so cool. But the thing that always jumps out at me, like, oh my God, the prices. Like, I don't know if I was just numb when I was buying all these Lego sets to it, or just they've gone up in the last few years. But man, it's such an expensive hobby.
Normally I wish list the ones that I want, and then it'll go on sale eventually, and then I pick it up when it goes on sale.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
That's why we haven't done the Iron Man one yet, because I'm waiting for it to go on sale.
Yeah, it reminds me, there's this guy I remember hearing the story about that his entire income is based on reselling Lego sets, but he doesn't scalp them. He specifically said, I do not buy new sets, I do not drain inventory, I don't scalp anything. What he does is he keeps a list of when Lego sets are going to be discontinued, kind of that they're not going to make them anymore, and then he'll look around and just buy a bunch of those and sit on them for a few years. And then, so he's kind of like, his eBay page, I think it's his eBay page, is like the go-to source for if you want a Lego set that's been discontinued 5 years ago. He more than likely has it, and he just has thousands of Lego sets in his inventory. And like I said, he specifically says, I don't scalp anything. He said, I will never go buy the latest thing and buy up copies and raise the price on them. He's like, all I do is just buy sets that are discontinued that anyone can go out and buy. He's like, the sets I buy, they're still in all the stores. He's like, I just stock up and keep an inventory so that down the road, if somebody wants those, I have them. And of course, he charges a premium, which is fair. But I just thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool. We should have been doing that with video games this whole entire time.
I know. I always think of that. I'll be walking down the Walmart clearance aisle and I'm like, oh, look at that Lego Star Wars set that's discontinued that they're not going to make anymore. Like, I could buy that and sell it for $20 profit. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're really going to sit on that for, like, obviously it would have to be like a large scale operation if you're really going to make money at it. And I tend to think like that. And I'm like, why are you going to put all that work, sit on something for years to make $20? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So I have to tell myself no.
Yeah. And inflation probably already surpasses what that is anyway. So.
Right. But yeah, pretty cool. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on. So this is a story that you had turned me on to. I guess a Brazilian politician, Jandira Fagali introduced new Stop Killing Games legislation. I guess because you might know more about this than I do, but like I've been kind of following the Stop Killing Games, but it seemed like it kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
When I guess there was some drama. I mean, this isn't the main story here, but just kind of catching people up. There's some kind of behind the doors stuff with some politicians in the EU and Ubisoft. And after it, they all came out and said, well, it would be really hard to enforce this. We're not going to do it. So the Stop Killing Games movement kind of got halted a little bit, which, just as a reminder, the whole thing started because of an Ubisoft game. Ubisoft is just in the middle of everything. Well, so from what I understand, this Brazilian politician is introducing similar legislation now in Brazil, to kind of try to get some more traction on this. And I don't know how big of a deal this is, but every little bit helps. Every little bit brings attention to it. I don't know. Is there anything I'm missing here that?
No, I think that's pretty accurate. There's, bigger stories, and there's concerns whether like Ubisoft lied in court or didn't lie in court about what's happening. But the main part of the story is that more people are getting involved with it, and more people are working towards, hey, video games are more of an art form and they should be protected, and there should be more accessibility to the games, and which I 100% fully agree with, because when you have games that end up not being accessible anymore, we lose some of that history. We lose some of that enjoyment that our culture has created. And Stop Killing Games is kind of trying to prevent that from happening, and then still having other politicians pick it up and be like, well, this is the angle that we should probably be attacking instead of this angle, and just trying to find the pathway forward.
Right, because you never know when somebody might, while they're digging, turn over like a new rock or something, or a new leaf. I don't know what but they might find something that somebody hadn't thought of before. So just keeping it going. I have some footage going, because this is just, it's funny. We were just talking about this on our other show, that Final Fantasy Ever Crisis is now going to shut down. Another game that people have made friends in. They have guilds in this game. I mean, it's kind of a gacha game, which that's a whole nother conversation about gacha games. But people love this game and they're shutting it down. Yeah. Mario Kart Tour is another one they're shutting down. And the whole point is of Stop Killing Games is, okay, well, we understand that when an online game, its profits aren't, basically the money you're bringing in doesn't cover the cost of the servers, or it doesn't make a profit anymore, and so you're losing money just to keep a game online. I mean, maybe they should have thought about it in the first place, but obviously that's neither here nor there, or too far in the past. But they at least need to take this game and put it onto like an offline form.
Right.
Like there's precedence for this. I mean, Mario Kart Tour is going offline. They're just going to remove it. But, Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS, no more online, but you can still play the whole campaign on the disc. Wii, no more online. You can still play Mario Kart Wii on the disc. There's all these examples. In fact, Final Fantasy VII, right? I forget the name of it, already had a gacha game that they're putting into a single player game.
Yeah, Brave Exvius is going to be basically Resonance.
Right. So I wonder, is that a lot of people are excited because they want to play this Final Fantasy game without all the gacha stuff in it, but that's got to be a bit of salt in the wound for people who spent money on that game, right? And they're like, oh, well, now you're just going to re-release it.
Years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
it hurts when you spent time in something, but it hurts more when you've spent money in something.
Yeah. And, money, in my view, is a representation of time in a lot of ways. So it's almost a double whammy. Like, not only did you spend time, but you also spent money, and that hurts. Like, I remember a Final Fantasy game that I played on my phone called Record Keeper, and I spent years playing the game. I would specifically tell, like, if I got a new phone, I'm like, this phone has to play Record Keeper because I need to have Record Keeper, right? And when they shut down Record Keeper, I felt a huge betrayal. It's because I spent tons of time and tons of money in this gacha game, thinking that it's just going to last for a long time. Like an MMO, most big MMOs last forever, but they ended up canceling the game. And I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm not playing gacha games anymore. This is, it's almost a betrayal. It's like, I invested so much time and effort into making the my perfect teams and met friends in the game, the whole 9 yards, and then they just shut it down without big warnings or anything either. It's just like, hey, game's not profitable, we're closing it now.
Yeah,
man.
Maybe that's the final gotcha. They're like, gotcha, and your money,
right? Huh? Gotcha.
I just wonder, like, there's all kinds of stuff and language in there, but like, at what level of like, do they just release an expansion, get a bunch of like microtransactions, for like the $100, best value package or whatever, and then what about people who buy the $100 best value pack like 3 days before it shuts down? I don't know. It just, there's some shadiness there that it just makes me feel a little gross.
Yeah, I mean, the least they could do is let people still play it offline. Like, flip the switch and be like, all right, now you can just play it and you don't have to worry about the gacha things. Because especially for people who spent so much time and money into it, like, it's like, forcing an amputation almost, right? It's like, oh, you don't need that arm anymore. We're just going to cut it off. Wait,
sounds like a metal song.
Have to have rights or documents or something to this thing? But, part of that is also this whole trend in gaming with the DRM stuff, saying, hey, you're not buying our game, you're buying the rights to play the game, right,
which is obviously the case for GOG, Good Old Games, but and I use Good Old Games, but just because I game so much on Steam, we were just talking about my Steam, my fake Steam machine that I like, that's what I game on now. So I still buy Steam, but technically, a lot of the games, I don't think a lot of people realize, if it's DRM free on GOG, a lot of times the version is DRM free on Steam. Like, you could download The Witcher on Steam. You could uninstall Steam, take the install files, move them to another computer, and still launch it. They're still DRM free. Yeah, not everyone does that, but a lot of companies that are okay with DRM free on GOG just go ahead and put the same version on Steam.
Yeah, Steam and GOG are two of the platforms that are very pro-consumer with things like that. So, like if I can't take a console game like from Xbox or Sony or Nintendo and then burn my own copy of it, that's technically illegal. You're not supposed to do that.
Right.
But if it's a GOG or a Steam game, you can do that. GOG, you can just do it, no worries, because it's DRM free. Steam, you have to kind of use Steam's own thing to do it, but it's still possible and it's not illegal. So, it just, in this environment, it just makes more sense to go those routes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've just, I've been using Steam forever. I mean, I still have an Xbox and Nintendo, but my Xbox is shelved with the fake Steam machine now. And I just use Switch because I like the Nintendo games, but yeah, there's just something about how easy it is. I have all my family members are in Steam. I had to like add them one time. I never have to deal with it anymore. They're just, anytime I buy a game, it's right there, with the exception of a few. There's a few publishers who don't allow family share, but that's super rare. So, and I'll see like a game show up, one of my kids will buy a new game, and like, boom, there's no way I would, like, I'm not like Arc Raiders, for example, is a game that I probably wouldn't play, but it showed up in my library because one of my kids got it. So I'm like, I'll download it and check it out, so yeah. It's so easy. We're like with Nintendo, you can share with another family member on your console to do that virtual card, like move it to another one. But what they don't tell you, when they make that look so easy, is that you can only add one other Switch.
Right.
So if I have a Switch 1 and a Switch 2, and I want to go between those, and maybe I get a Switch Lite to take with me, I can't swap my games between all three of those freely with the virtual cards. Right. Which, obviously that's why I buy everything on Switch physical media if I can. But that's kind of where the
pushback is, right? Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily with being able to share games necessarily. It's about ownership and rights. It's almost like, it almost feels like a slippery slope, where if I buy a physical book, it's basically saying that, because I bought the book, I don't necessarily own the IP, but I own the paper and the ink and all that stuff. Like, I own that book. I can't make copies of that book and sell that book, obviously.
But you can sell that book.
Right. I can sell the book I own. Mm-hmm. I can't just sell 500 of that same book. And that's where digital is different. Where digital is saying, "Oh no, you're only licensed right." So they found like this weird loophole within the law, and that's a slippery slope that we're bumping up to now. Is where is that power going to end? How far does that power extend? And so I think most gamers aren't going to care, right? They're still going to just play their games, but other gamers that kind of care about rights and ownership and legislation are going to be the ones that push back on this and be like, maybe businesses have too much power because of this kind of loophole in the law.
I mean, for physical media, I don't think Sony cares. I mean, not only did their stock go up after they announced that they're repurposing their facility to make more profit, I mean, that alone says they don't care. But I mean, if you had to guess, Ash, what do you think the number one selling game so far of 2026 is? If you just had to guess.
Oh man, if I had to guess, the number one, Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah, there you go. It's not even out yet. There's no physical version of it at all, right? You can buy a case with a download code, but it's still, since it's a download code, if it was a disc that downloaded the game, you could still sell that, and then the person who bought it could download it, right? But since it's a download code, it's locked to your account, which means they could revoke it. That's the only way it's available. It's the number one selling game of 2026. It's digital only, and it's only Sony and Xbox, and you have to just assume that Sony has a lion's share of those sales.
100. So right now, if you load up your PlayStation 5, I don't know about PS4. I haven't turned on my PS4 in a while, but if you load up your PS5 right now, your home screen is GTA 6.
Yeah, I'm sure. And even my kids, like my youngest son, he's like, I mean, I got up to go to the bathroom last night at like 4 a.m, and he was still in his room playing GTA 5 because him and his friends are going like hardcore mode just to get ready for GTA 6. Like that's all they're doing right now. And I've never played GTA 5, but he was showing me some of it last night. I didn't realize like the shops, he like pulls out his cell phone and like browses the cars he wants to buy on his cell phone that's in game. There's like a web browser on there, and it looks like you're browsing the web buying cars on there. He's showing me, like, he's like, Dad, I want to get this little tank. And it looks like the tank you have in Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh, I love it. So I used to be a pretty big Grand Theft Auto player. Like, I had, from the early top-down days of where it's hard to control your car. And then, thinking, man, this would be great 3D. And then they finally did it. And you got Grand Theft Auto 3, and then San Andreas and Vice City, and then 4. I forget the title for that one. But then when 5 hit, I started playing it, and I stopped playing it because on one of the computers had pop-up websites, and it had R-rated material on it, which I'm not opposed to. It's whatever. But I had really young kids at the time, and I'm playing it on the living room on the big screen. I was like, oh, nope, turn this off.
Yeah.
This is not the right time for this. But nowadays, my kids are way older. I could probably play it, but my backlog today is just I just don't have time.
It's one of those games. Like I'd check it out and play it, but I have such a backlog of stuff that kind of for me, like things with dragons and fantasy worlds or sci-fi is always kind of first. So it's like I feel like I'd have to get some of those out of the way first before I would ever check it out. Now, if my son was like, "Hey, you want to do some stuff with me?" I'll do any gaming with my kids. I mean, I have nearly 1,000 hours in Fortnite just playing with my kids from when they were younger. So, I mean, I'm willing to take one for the team when it comes to gaming with the kids. But, yeah, I don't know. We don't censor our kids a lot, but we did make him wait till he was 16 to play Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Just to be on the safe side, because I know there's some pretty twisted stuff. I'm not so much worried about like sexual imagery and violent imagery as much as is the way in a game like that. I don't want to say glorified as much as they do make it look kind of fun and make it some of the scenarios that are kind of gruesome, they make it kind of funny. And so to me, the psychological part of wrapping that along with fun at the same time versus like in a horror movie, there's some violence, there's some stabbings and all that, but it's bad. They're not making it like you're not participating in it and you're not laughing at it while it happens. It's that combining of stuff that I think when their brain's still being wired as a kid, decided to wait a little bit. I think 16 is probably fine for that age.
And I think it's different each kid, right? Every parent should kind of understand where their kids' morals and how they perceive the world is. Like if you have a kid that it's harder for them to distinguish between what's real and what's not real, you might want to have that kind of discussion about it. But like for the most part, I think kids understand, right?
Yeah.
They understand what's real and what's not, and I think that's a big distinguishing aspect to it.
Right. Every parent's gonna make their own decisions and try to do the best they can. I try not to pass judgment on how other people parent unless they do something like really stupid. Then I'll pass a ton of judgment. But it takes a lot to cross the threshold.
Right.
I'm more worried about how people treat their cats.
Oh no.
Did I just say that out loud? I'm sorry. But I mean, it's true,
I just imagine you're judging me secretly off screen. You let your cats outside? You're not a good cat owner.
Well, you know what? I would judge you for that if I knew you lived by like a highway or you had like some pit bulls in your neighborhood and stuff. But you're like kind of off the beaten path. You're safe. Or like if I have next door neighbors who let their cats out. I'm like, you're crazy. And of course, I've already seen them go through a couple cats in the same time that mine are fine, because there's like, we have like a homeless camp in the forest not too far away, and they have some pit bulls and they wander into the neighborhood and they've eaten some people's cats before.
Oh no. Well, you have to consider other things too, like not just cats being attacked by predators, but there's also like they can get diseases and worms and all sorts of other things that you have to make sure that you keep on top of. So if you have indoor outdoor cats, it's probably better to take your cat to the vet more often than you normally would.
Right, and flea treatment, because fleas, the way a flea infestation can take over a house, it can take a year to get that under control. And cats don't itch fleas like dogs, so cats can have fleas and you might not even know it. If they're not white and you can't see the flea dirt, like your cats could be just, dropping eggs everywhere.
Oh man. Yeah, you don't want that. I don't think I've ever needed to worry about massive fleas, because our cats always got flea collars or flea stuff on them or whatever it might be. But like we've rescued cats before that are just on the verge of dying because they were covered in fleas, and we have to stay on top of it for weeks and weeks to make sure that they could survive before we, send them to the vet or whatever. Because I don't want to find a stray cat covered in fleas and just give it to, the vet, because I'm not 100% sure they'll take care of them properly or infest other animals that are there. So
sadly, I think a lot of people are like, oh, cats are wild, they can do whatever they want on their own, but they're sensitive animals, and an urban sprawl is not their natural habitat. People act like, oh, well, they're outside, they got to go outside my apartment and run around the city. Like that's not where cats, like like you have trees, you have, you know, like it's different. And like I said, you take care of them. So
Yeah, I live by.
I'm not secretly judging you.
I live by I guess it's not even wildlife; it's a wetland preservation. So
Right.
the cats love to go and roam around in there
Oh yeah.
and have fun. And they, you know, we always bring them in at night. They don't
Yep.
stay out all night. So
Yep. Let's see what else. Oh, you know what? I was thinking like maybe we shouldn't talk about Microsoft, but I saw a few things. I'll try to keep this one kind of brief because we got a few other things to get to. But
no. More Microsoft
on my notes, I have
stuff.
update on Microsoft being dumb is kind of what I wrote here. So
Okay, yeah, makes
one
sense.
of the this is kind of a two things that I have here, some updates. One of the issues that people were talking about was Obsidian specifically, saying that they got hit by layoffs and, you know, they're not the same company anymore, but they've been told to like stop all of their original IPs. And Obsidian, for people who don't know, kind of most famously, well, I don't know most famously, but to a lot of people, made probably what is considered the best Fallout game, which is Fallout New Vegas.
Right.
Even though it's Bethesda, Obsidian got hired to come in almost like super short notice, given a time crunch that most companies wouldn't have been able to make a poor game in. Well, they made an amazing game, and it's highly regarded as one of the best ones. And
So, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but Obsidian was the original creators of Fallout 1 and 2 before Bethesda came in and bought it up. So it's almost giving them.
I didn't
New
know
Vegas
that. No.
Yeah, giving them New Vegas was like, oh, it's a throwback to the older games too, just using the 3D engine.
Oh, interesting. But I guess Obsidian is kind of famous for, like, you know, it seems like every studio now is just by name. Like big companies buy studios. In the studio, they buy the name, they buy the rights, they lay off a bunch of people, they hire a bunch of new people to make a game, they lay them off. Well, Obsidian, you know, like back in the day, you know, like id had a culture. Obsidian had a culture of, like, their thing was that they were just really streamlined. They were just really efficient. They didn't waste time while still making good games. And so I think that was a large part of why they were able to make New Vegas so quickly. But the drama started with all the Microsoft layoffs. Obsidian was told that, I think they lost around 100 people down in Texas. And they were told, stop your original IPs, which, you know, is stuff like Avowed and Pillars of Eternity and stuff like that, right?
Right.
And you're just going to be making a new Fallout. And everyone was like, oh, that's awesome. Obsidian, creators of New Vegas, is going to be focusing entirely on a new Fallout. But then everyone's like, well, they're not even the same studio that they used to be. Well, their director, I have his name here, Brandon Adler, came out and said, hey, we are the same studio. We have a large amount of the team. Yes, we've lost some people, but we're largely the same team that made New Vegas still. In fact, you know, he's been there since 2006. Although, side note, it is a little ironic. Microsoft did lay him off a few years ago, and he went to work for a mobile company. Well, they hired him back. So, I mean, that's more of a side note, maybe an asterisk, if anything. But not only is he saying it's the same company, the New Vegas director, Josh Sawyer, is actually still going to be directing the new Fallout game. So maybe in all of this stuff, and I'm not saying that I support what Microsoft is doing, but at least there maybe is it's a silver lining implies that they did something good. Maybe there's like a light shining through the darkness in all this.
A little bit of hope. Right?
A little bit of hope that at least Obsidian is still the studio that they largely were, and so there's hope for a good New Vegas. Now, it just depends on how much Bethesda gets their hands in it, because Bethesda, infamous for releasing unfinished games, relying on the community to finish them and all that, so we will see.
Yeah, man, that almost felt like the ship of Theseus, but for video games, where, like, you know, if you change it all of the people, is it still the same company? And I think there's a thing for it. Like, if the company still has the same kind of culture and the same kind of feeling towards it, I think it could be. But like, some of that talent is irreplaceable. Some of those people that came up with some of those ideas and some of the mechanics, those are very hard things to replace. Yeah. But if they're still with the company, it's not even a ship of Theseus thing. It's just like, cool, let's get to work. Let's make some games, right?
You know, and we don't know how much of this is them saving face, and maybe the management's there, but like most of the employees are new. I don't know their total numbers, or maybe it's true. Maybe, you know, the upper important people are enough to make that ship still, you know, steer where it's supposed to. But it kind of reminds me, it's the next kind of the other little thing I had with Microsoft is that id is also kind of responding, you know, I don't know, people call it id, people call it ID. I think it's id because it's supposed to, I mean, like psychology, right? Id.
Right.
You know, probably one of the most iconic gaming engines in the history of gaming. Sure, maybe there was a 3D first-person game before Doom, but Doom and Wolfenstein and stuff are what really made it famous. I mean, that is like, you could argue we wouldn't have half of the stuff we have, or it would have gone in a completely different direction if it wasn't for id. But they had said that like id had been completely, the news they're decimated, and there's like just 2 guys working on the engine still, you know, which id's coming out and they're saying that they could still make the games that they're known for, and they're actually, even though they've had some cuts, they're around the same size as they were when they made Doom 2016. So they're trying to maybe like paint it in a little better picture too. But the id engine, that, you know, is the engine that's made all the Doom stuff. I think the new Indiana Jones game was made in that engine. It just blows my mind, and I don't know how you feel about this, but this seems crazy to me. If you think, who's one of your biggest competitors when it comes to like first-person shooters? Obviously, Unreal, Epic Games, right? They have Fortnite. Right. They have the Unreal Engine from a game.
Unreal Engine 6 is coming, which has controversy with it, which is
but think about
strange.
This. Microsoft has all these games that they're making developers. Like, they've announced that we want to streamline the Unreal Engine process. Like, they're going hard on Unreal. You, Microsoft, what is wrong with you? Literally in-house, you own the rights to one of the most famous, like, legendary engines. Even if maybe it's a little bit harder to use and you need some proprietary technology, it's still it's legendary. Why?
Right.
I don't understand. Like, you're paying your competitor to use their engine while owning one of the best engines in the game industry. And it's not like only 1 or 2 people can use this thing, or they wouldn't be pumping out games like Indiana Jones with it and stuff too. Stop paying Unreal. Take your id. I don't know. Like, I don't make video game engines for a living, but you would think that they could license that out. And maybe if Microsoft just wants to make money, announce to your shareholders, you know, because everything's about selling stuff to the shareholders, right? Go to your shareholders and say, guess what, shareholders? We have one of the most legendary game engines, and we're going to start licensing it out and directly competing with Unreal, you know, to fuel the games that people want to play, you know, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe why? I don't understand some of the decisions they make.
I think there's probably 2 or 3 reasons why. One, like, let's get them canceling a bunch of the developers for the id technologies is kind of sad, because it'll be harder for them to update and maintain it, right? And in my mind, when I hear the id engine, I think of ray tracing, like, because to me that really brought ray tracing to the forefront. And so I think what's happening is Unreal Engine 6 is happening, and Unreal Engine 6 is using new lighting technology. So like, it's, you know, they're moving past ray tracing now to like some luminous engine of some sorts. And so with Unreal Engine 6 coming out and it's being pushed hard, well, the thing that's kind of adding the controversy to Unreal Engine, and why I think companies are pushing for it, is because data centers. You got the AI inserted in Unreal Engine 6. And so like with these data centers really pushing everything, and Microsoft being a big part of data centers.
Second largest owner of data centers in the world. Yeah.
So they're moving a bunch of their assets over to Unreal Engine 6, and unfortunately, some of the collateral damage is id technologies, which a lot of us kind of grew up on, enjoying and watching. But so, you know, you have the new engine coming out, you have AI technology coming out, you have a new lighting engine coming out, and ID technologies just couldn't keep up with it, I guess, or at least in Microsoft eyes, it couldn't keep up with it.
Right.
So.
I mean, I understand it would take some work and it would take some time, but it still just sounds like the biggest pitch you could make to shareholders. I mean, there was a time when Unreal Engine was some janky thing. I mean, it's another lifetime ago, but I mean, I was in the game development industry, and, you know, at the company that I work for, we used Unreal and Unity, which is pretty common, you know, and you know, Unreal was really kind of new at the time. It was really difficult to use. It was hard to program for, where Unity back then was kind of more in line with, like, you know, what Unreal is now. It's a lot more user friendly. Everything's a little more universal. You know, stuff's easy to swap in and out. Unreal wasn't. But Epic they're like, you know what? Why are we making money off just our games when we can make money off of everybody's game, right?
Right.
So it would take some time, and I think that's the thing. Companies, they want to make everything right now. They don't want to invest in the future anymore. They just want to, like, how can we get the profits up this quarter, for the shareholders and all that. But I mean, the id Engine, who knows? I mean, they're still going to be making games with it. I mean, it just seems like a missed opportunity. Even if it fizzles out, you think just announcing it could juice the stocks for a little bit, enough to maybe keep some of your staff on, because it's all about juicing the stocks, right?
Yeah, we live in a society where multiple engines can exist at the same time. It's okay. Like, people like Doom ran beautifully, right? Like, it revolutionized Doom, right? That engine revolutionized Doom. Like, it brought breath back into it, because I remember when Doom, I think it was Doom 3 came out, and people were lukewarm to it because it was just still Doom, and we've already played Doom 1 and 2. And so when Doom 2016 came out,
oh my god,
vastly different, it blew up because it was the same Doom but with a lot more cool stuff in it, right? So it's proven that ID Technologies can still do some amazing things, and not giving them the chance to do that is really kind of sad.
Right. Yeah. It just kind of blows my mind. It just kind of sounds like, imagine if Apple was like, well, we have this in-house technology in iOS, but I think we're going to actually start building our iPhones on Google's technology, and we're gonna pay Google for every iPhone we sell because we're using their operating system. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Every iPhone would have Gemini in it. That'd be the end of humanity, probably.
But so I mean, that's kind of it. I mean, it doesn't sound like id's gonna be hurt too much, and Obsidian's gonna be hurt too much. I mean, the big thing is, it's just always, it's hard when people lose their jobs. There's the humanity part behind it. I don't think her goal of getting 1 billion people per day on Xbox is realistic, but I think maybe trimming the fat a little bit, canceling a few projects to focus on your big IPs is never a bad thing,
Yeah, no, I don't think it's necessarily bad, but here's what the problem is that they probably don't see, is there's people like you and I out there who I would say maybe average on computers and things like that, right? Maybe a little bit above average, but like, in this day and age, it's so much easier to build your own computer. Like, you don't have to worry about pins and all that stuff anymore. Everything's like plug and play for the most part. Building your own computer is super easy. If you haven't done it recently, so easy.
Yeah.
So like, what these companies are doing, Microsoft and Sony, they're pushing people like us to be like, okay, we'll just make our own console. Yeah. We'll just do that.
And guess who wins?
Steam and GOG wins, right?
Yep.
And so that's kind of the whole trend. That's where I see it happening, is these consoles are going to lose a lot of their player base because of it. Because people, like, I've been gaming on console for decades now, and they're shifting my perspective. Like, okay, maybe I don't need to game on consoles anymore, right?
Yeah. Yep. So
I mean, that's a silver lining, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. Silver lining, I guess. Yeah. We'll have to see what happens. I mean, hopefully the next Fallout game's good. Let's see. So this is one, maybe you can tell me, you know a little bit more about the organization itself probably than I do. I kind of got hip to the story, but Games Done Quick. Here, I'm going to pull up some Games Done Quick while we talk about this in the background.
AGDQ.
They're
SGDQ recently.
Yeah, so they raise money for charity. It's like a speed running thing, but they're doing their big event, and they put out this here. Let me just, let me just put this up. They tweeted this. It said, "We're so excited to be working with SNK to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Metal Slug with a speed running showcase. Tune in now and stay in touch." Right, that was their tweet.
Right.
Well, it turns out that they were only excited for about 3 hours.
If that, the community went wild.
Yeah.
And I would say for probably good reason. So SGDQ, they do a bunch of really awesome charity work, and I've been involved with AGDQ and SGDQ many years ago when it first started. I was helping them, write code and do things that help get this supported. And so I'm kind of invested in how they're doing what they're doing, and a big part of it is charity, right? A lot of what they say they're doing is, hey, this money's going to charity, which most of it does go to charity. They still have like overheads and things that they have to pay for.
Sure, of course.
But some of the charities are humanity based, like Doctors Without Borders or cancer or whatever it might be, right? They every year they get lots of money for it. Well, tied to stuff like that is humanitarian things, right? Like human rights activists and doing right for humans, not just Americans or not just Europeans, but all of humanity as a whole. And that's kind of their goal, right?
Right.
Through gaming, support humanity. And so when they were like, hey, let's do the 30th anniversary for SNK, which on the surface level sounds like a great thing to do, because not only is it supporting, Metal Gear or Metal Slug and SNK, but it's also giving these speedrunners a chance to showcase their skill in these games.
Well, and can I mention something real quick?
Great.
SNK, for people who don't know, is traditionally, like you said, Surface, a Japanese publisher with over 140 games to their credit. I mean, they're legendary. They played arcade games starting in the late 70s before they even went into publishing. So a bit of a pedigree there. So just I thought
Fatal
I'd
Fury,
throw that out there.
Metal Slug, all sorts of fun games. Well, another I guess nation decided to buy up a bunch of stocks of SNK. They ended up getting the majority of the stocks, and now 96%. Now they own SNK. And this nation is Saudi Arabia, which for a lot of Western people is anti-human rights. Like, they don't give women a lot of rights for things, not known for human rights.
Well, one of the biggest concerns, I mean, obviously everyone talks about the journalists that they killed and stuff, but a big one is just the straight up execution of homosexual.
Yeah, they're big on executions, things like that, right? So then people got up in arms because they're like, wait, this SNK is a Saudi Arabia thing. So they're like, you should probably vet these companies more before you do stuff like this. And so when a bunch of the community was up in arms about it, then they're like, oh, yeah, you're right. This is a misstep. We should probably cancel that. Which, granted, they did, right? They're like, okay, cool. Yeah, you're right. We're about human rights. And this feels like it's not about human rights. And like, to be fair, Saudi Arabia has changed some over the years, but definitely not enough, right?
Well, so it's I don't know. I mean, it's probably not the place to like litigate them, but from what I understand,
I'm talking about from a perspective of our culture to their culture, right?
I think changing. Most people describe it as well, they've been trying to invest in Western culture. But a lot of people say that it's kind of a combination of they're just trying to diversify out of because their economy is based on oil, right? So they're trying to diversify that quite a bit. But by getting into Western culture, people don't know, like, the biggest fear is that they're going to start putting propaganda in games, which I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's kind of more of a whitewashing of some of these crimes against humanity that are happening. Like, oh, well, they're involved in video games and movies and stuff now, so maybe they aren't that bad. But like, is it? But are they really changing? And I don't think so. But I was looking into this, and this company EGDC that they have also owns like 10% of Capcom. Is another thing, which is
they're making a big push in entertainment.
And so now I just hate it when stuff like this happens because, like, you can't boycott everything or we'd have nothing. It just makes it so much harder. Like, okay, well, they own 96% of this company. That's almost 100%. Maybe I shouldn't support it. Yeah, but they got their hands all over in a bunch of other stuff. Like, it just makes it hard to decide, like, where do you stand morally? And I don't have the answer for that. And everybody's going to feel different,
Yeah. And what it comes down to is perception from the community, right? How the community feels about it and where they land on it. And that's kind of what AGDQ did, is the majority of their community, or at least the loudest majority of their community, was saying, "Hey, don't do this." And so that's the side that they stood on, because if they didn't, then they lose a bunch of their goodwill,
Yeah.
and they don't want to do that, right? So,
You know, I like that they did something about it. I feel kind of like in this world, like people make mistakes, and people, I mean, as far as like getting clicks, people love to jump all over people when they make mistakes. And
oh yeah, we're all human. We all make mistakes.
it's so much so though, but I feel like just the general public now, especially if you look at like Reddit, someone did something stupid like 5 years ago, they may as well be like the devil incarnate. But I feel a little more, I'm not telling other people how to think, but I kind of feel like if it's not too egregious and people change and do the right thing, because we're also living in a world of where people do horrible things, it's also getting popular to make excuses and double down. So whenever I see a company like this immediately say, hey, I don't know if they didn't realize it, or you know, maybe they didn't do their due diligence. Maybe it was shady, and they hope people would notice, and they did kind of know. I don't know, but I'm glad that when people called them out, they're like, "Yeah, sorry, let's do the right thing." So
yeah.
I'm going to take that over so many companies doubling down and making excuses. You know, they could have been like, "Well, yeah, I mean, it's horrible and all that, but we're still going to raise money for charity." No, they said no, we're not going to do it. So I think that's a good thing. You know.
And you know, there's cases to be made where like the Metal Slug games that they made, it was made pre Saudi Arabia owning it, so it might be fine. But like, you know, there's all sorts of ways that could have went, and I think this is the correct way, right? Because it's appeasing the fans and keeping their integrity. So I think it's the right call.
No, it absolutely sucks
they also
for
said
whoever.
They said something about increasing their vetting process too. So overall, it's a good change.
Yeah. You know, but I mean, what it really sucks for is the person who is going to be actually speedrunning the game, because, you know, they might speedrun it for 3 minutes, but that person has spent thousands and thousands of hours, and this was their chance, you know, one, in the spotlight a little bit, and two, to raise some money for charity. So, you know.
And I can kind of see, like, from the human perspective, somebody who spent all those hours speedrunning this Metal Gear or Metal Slug game, the SNK game, feeling some kind of way about how a community might perceive them also. And I'm just going to go on record saying, enjoy your games, right? Yeah. Don't let this politics get to you. If you enjoy the game, play the game. It's okay.
Right. All the more reason to just find a Metal Slug ROM, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I can imagine myself being in that perspective. Like, I spent years practicing this game, and all of a sudden everybody hates the game, and that almost feel like it's attacking my personality, right? That's attacking myself.
Yep, I 100% agree. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Right? I guess we know what's happening there, but either way, it's overall a company that does really awesome things for good causes. All right. So I promised at the start of the show that we'd have a little bit of drama in there, but we'd sandwich it with something cool and sandwich it with something else cool. So what I have for you, I don't know if I put this one in the show notes or not, if you know what's coming here. I'm going to have to turn the volume up for this one.
Uh-oh.
So Hallmark, who makes a decoration for everything, you're going to love this one. Their Christmas ornament, and I'm hoping the sound comes through. Does this when you push the button. You ready?
Yep.
There we go.
Oh, that's cool.
How awesome is that?
So this might get me to get a Christmas tree to put ornaments on it.
So let me ask, is this going to be hanging on your Christmas tree for Ezra to try to pull off?
I normally don't have Christmas trees in my house, but okay. I might just buy it and hang it up somewhere in the house somewhere. So when I walk by, I can just push it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I used to collect ornaments back in the day. Like, I have a lot of the Star Trek ones, but I don't buy ornaments anymore. We still do a little Christmas tree, like a little 3-footer, like on a little table to put the presents under. But I don't know. I just think it's cool. But I was looking, they have a bunch of other ones. But so there you go. There's your feel good news story right there. It's breaking news.
Little mini PlayStation Christmas ornament that has a boot up sound for OG PlayStation. That's cool.
Yep. Let me ask you this: if you had an ornament that made this sound right here, would you buy the ornament?
Oh, 100%. I'd keep it in my pocket and just play it everywhere. Like I'd go buy some ice cream, and as soon as I pay for it, do 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 do.
Can you imagine? Because every once in a while you're going to get somebody who knows, right?
Yep.
I always
That
love
would
that.
be amazing.
That is what's so cool about being a gamer. You know, like if you're wearing, you know, like your sports team, somebody else, you know, will be like, hey, you know, like go Giants or something like that, right? Or if it's like a movie, like, oh, I like that movie. But if you have on like a Final Fantasy t-shirt or something like that, you're going to run into that person. Everyone's like, oh my God, like that's my favorite game. And you'll just like, I mean, I've just in the grocery store had like 10-minute conversations about like Square Enix games and stuff before. Like, you know, being a gamer is just so much fun.
I don't wear clothing with
I thought you were going to stop there. I don't wear clothing.
Yeah, I don't wear clothing. Not
no, the grocery store.
I don't wear clothing with like propaganda or whatever on them. But when I see somebody with something cool on it, I'm like, hey, that's a cool shirt, right?
Yeah. No, I get that. I wear graphic shirts for things that I like, but I avoid, and I wonder if it's for the kind of the same reason that you don't wear any graphic shirts. You know, like I wouldn't wear a Nike shirt or like a Reebok shirt or something because like, well, that's just somebody's logo. Like they should pay me for that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But you know, I like Mario Bros, so I got a Mario shirt. I mean, the money still goes to the same place, but it just seems funny something that is literally nothing but a brand advertisement.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's free advertisement for them, and you pay them to do it.
Yeah. But like gaming shirts or like band t-shirts or something like that, to me, those are just fun and they're often conversation starters. But you know what? $20 spent on a Mario shirt is probably better spent just buying another game.
100%.
When you really think about it.
I'm already an introvert, so it takes a lot for me to be like, hey, come talk to me about this game I'm wearing, right? The most I do is like, hey, that's a cool shirt, and then I just keep walking. Even if they want to talk about it, I'm like, no, it's okay. I just want to let you know it's a cool shirt.
Unlike, like, seems like older people, especially, like, you get in the elevator and you just start going up when you're like trying not to talk and you're like, I know they're going to say something. And all of a sudden you get the like, man, I don't know if they'd be able to fit many more people in here. And I'm like, oh, and you know, sometimes it annoys me, but then I'm like, you know what? That's just somebody being happy and social. Like, why should I get bothered by that? So I kind of actively remind myself not to get bothered by people just, you know, striking up conversation.
I don't get bothered by it. I just don't want to spend energy on it.
Right. Now, when I'm in the grocery store and I've got my earbuds in, when I'm like listening to some music or something, and people are like trying to talk to me, like I was in line at Walmart because that's about all we have in this tiny little town. Buying my groceries, got my earphones in, like I don't want to talk to anybody. It's like early in the morning because I go early, and there's some person kind of. I can see they're trying to talk to me, and I'm trying to like I'm listening. You know, I'm listening to I'm probably listening to a gaming podcast, and they're like signal me to pull up my thing, and I'm like, oh, it must be something important. So I pull up my thing and kind of give them this like, oh yeah, what? Because I'm kind of like in a daze a little bit too. Like, you know, I'm coming out of like shifting out of my world. I can feel like it's almost like a cutscene, you know, like a Star Wars wipe as they in my face. And they're like, man, you think they could get another checker in here? And I'm just, oh God, and I just put my thing back in. like
that wasn't worth the supernova.
No, it really wasn't. It really wasn't. So sometimes I do get annoyed. They weren't just being friendly. They just wanted to complain to somebody. So that's different.
Yeah. And there's psychology about being able to bond over something you don't like more so than bonding over something you do like. So I get it.
Yeah, that's that's a whole conversation. Speaking of whole conversations, what do you say about taking a break and when we come back? Having a conversation about what happened this week in the 90s and maybe even playing a little bit of Name That Game tune.
Let's do it.
All right, you heard it first. Ashen thinks that it is a good idea to take a break and come back and play some games. Breaking news, everybody. We'll be right back.
Breaking news. We're having a break.
All right. Welcome back to the show. I think we're going to play some games. You know what else we're going to do, Ashen? We're also going to talk about what we played. But notice we're changing up the order this week.
Yeah.
Do you know why we're changing up the order? If you had to guess.
I'm guessing because you forgot to add in that part.
Correct. Yes. I scrolled right past it in the show notes. But you know what? You know, it might actually be a better order. News, play a little bit of fun, and then talk about what we did. So that's the way we're going to do it this week. Who knows? Maybe we like it better and we stick with it.
And it keeps all the viewers on their toes. When are they going to do that segment?
That's right.
Right. Keeps us on our toes too. We just never know.
All right, let's do it. So let's do some Name That Tune. This week I only have one for you, but it's a good one. Yep, just doing one this week. And I got a few facts about it after we get it.
Oh,
so
I have to get it wrong then. So the facts hit harder.
Well, yeah. There'll be alternative facts at that point. All right. Are you ready? I think you'll know this one. I don't know if you'll... It's one of those ones you'll probably recognize, but we'll see if you can attach it to the correct game.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Oh, wait. I forgot to give you the lead-in. So these are all Nintendo 64 games that I'm going to give you in the category.
Perfect.
All right. Here we go. All right, is it Edward Scissorhands? No, just kidding. Okay. Kind of reminds me of it. All right, here's your options. Are you ready? These are all Nintendo 64 games. Is it Kirby 64? Is it Mario 64? Is it Rayman 2 The Great Escape? Or is it Glover?
Glover. Ooh, I've never heard of Glover before. I'm curious about that one.
Glover,
wow.
He was kind of like a hamburger helper looking glove that just ran around. It was a 3D platformer, like one of the first ones when people are like, I want more 3D platformers. Well, Glover came out.
Oh, that's cool.
I think maybe even before Banjo-Kazooie.
I'm probably going to knock that one off, even though it sounds like it could be that. But I think this is Rayman, actually.
Is it Rayman? Let's see. It is Rayman.
I only know it's Rayman because I cut my teeth playing Rayman games. I used to play them all the time, and I think some of my gaming skills came from Rayman.
Nice. We just can't stop talking about Ubisoft. So this was an Ubisoft game back when Ubisoft was still, I think, just a small French company making video games for the masses. So, okay, so here's a little bit about this game. So this game originally came out on the Nintendo 64 and the PC. It launched at the same time. I never played the PC version. I've only played the Nintendo 64 version. Later, however, it came out with a Game Boy Color version, which was super, super modified. It may as well not have even been Rayman. But then it later came out for most platforms. The DS had a version, the 3DS had a version, the Switch now has a version, iOS has a version, PS3 has a version, PSP has a version, Vita has a version, Good Old Games has a version. But I don't know if you knew this, it also came out, and maybe you played this version, it had an exclusive version for the PS2 that was an upgraded version called Rayman Revolution.
Yep, I've played that one.
Nice. So which one have you, I assume maybe, is this a game that you've played on the PS5, like with some of their older game stuff? Or
I do. I have it on the PS5 and the PS4, the Rayman Legends collection. Oh, man. Then don't let the cutesiness of it fool you. It's a hard game. And it's got a weird curve to it, too. Like, it starts off kind of easy. And you're like, oh, yeah, I got this. And then all of a sudden you hit a wall, and you're just like, holy cow, where do the difficulties might come from this?
Right. You know, I often see, like, memes talking about, like, Souls games. And, like, they're like, you know, true gamers remember, you know, and they'll show Rayman for the Nintendo 64. I owned it. I played it. I never beat it. I didn't beat a lot of games unless, like, my roommates were all into them, too. And then we'd all, like, go pretty hard on something, but this just isn't one that I beat, and I don't know what the reason was. Maybe I ended up getting later on when I wasn't gaming as much at the time. Like, I just don't remember what the reason was for, but I definitely never beat this game. But I did. Yeah, play it.
I don't think a lot of people have beat it just because of the difficulty for it. It would still had that idea that a lot of older kind of games had, where, hey, people rent these games, so we don't want them to rent it and beat it in a weekend. we want them to keep coming back to renting it. So this philosophy was making these games really hard, so that way you had to keep renting it to keep trying to play it. Is kind of that philosophy of the Raymond, and like other games had that philosophy too, like Lion King and some other ones.
Yeah. God, that's such a weird thing to think about. Just going into the Blockbuster and picking up like Super Adventure Island 2 for the SNES and taking it home for the weekend, you know?
Yep.
Which I was so disappointed that I brought Super Adventure Island 2 for the SNES and didn't beat it. I got so close. Man. And I had to take it back because, you know, like money was tight, you know, because I was like a kid and, well, technically an adult, but a kid. And I had to take it back and I was so close. I felt like I just needed like one more hour. And so
you're a better man than I am.
One of my friends remembered that I almost beat that and bought it for me for my birthday because it wasn't too far. Because they would sell their games like later, and so I fired it up hoping it would still have my save file, and it didn't. So then I never went back.
Oh man! So for some of you who don't know, back in the day, you had cartridges had the save files on it, so that way, you know, when you rented a game, sometimes you could play somebody else's save file, or you can rent the same game again, and then your save file not be on there because you rented a different copy of that game, and so you can lose some of the progress that you had. But the cool thing is some rental companies also had instruction books, and people would write codes in it or tips in it for the next person who rented it. So it's this cool kind of culture. And I kind of got stuck in that too. So when Final Fantasy VI, back then it was called 3, before the Super Nintendo came out, I had rented it under my grandmother's account because I wasn't old enough to have my own account back then. And I didn't return it. I kept it. And they got mad at my grandmother saying, hey, you need to return this game. And it got to the point where they're like, well, you either owe us the price of the full game, or we're going to send you the collections. So my grandmother ended, and I still wouldn't return the game. I was like, nope, not doing it.
Sorry,
so my grandmother bought me the game, right? Just so I could return the game so she wouldn't go to collections. And I returned the game she bought to the store and kept the rented copy because of my save files.
Oh, there you go. That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, that was actually a thing. Like if you liked it, and people would buy it and then, return the other one. So they'd keep their save files. But you'd keep the box and, the new box and everything.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
So the burning question that everybody wants to know, do you still have that actual disc today?
I do. In fact, it's funny because you were only allowed like 3 save files on there, and I still have a save file on there specifically for a challenge. So I think it was Nintendo Power came out with a challenge where if you could get to this part of this game in X amount of steps, then you win a prize. I didn't win the prize because I never submitted, but I kept practicing and I kept lowering my step count to get to that point in the game, and I still have my best step count save file on that cart.
That's awesome. I love it. Of course, now you've obviously replayed it, I'm sure, on like the PlayStation and stuff. But
oh yeah, tons of times. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that is a classic game. That one's on my list to play for sure. I think is that your favorite of the old school Pixel ones, or overall favorite?
My favorite Final Fantasy overall. If you don't count MMOs, it's probably my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Okay.
Just because there's a lot of little techs and intricacies for the game that on your first playthrough you're not going to worry about or care about, but as you get deeper into the game, you get super deep on a lot of the, not just the story and the lore, but like the mechanics of the game are very kind of interesting. How some of the things that they decided to do, which I'll try really hard not to spoil for you when you play through the game, but afterwards I'll be like, so by the way, you should have done. Yep.
Because I mean, you're often watching when I'm playing those games, and it would be, I mean, I don't mind it, if you're like, hey, like when I played Final Fantasy VII, people being like, hey, I don't want to tell you what to do, but you should definitely go in here because there's going to be some lore that you'll appreciate. So I always like that kind of stuff. Because me, I'll only play it once.
I think it's cool that game developers do stuff like that where there's missable things, because it not only is it like a design philosophy where, hey, we created all the things and it's okay if you miss it, but it entices you to have these conversations about, oh, did you go see this? What? No, I got to go back and check it out, right? And so it encourages multiple playthroughs, encourages more conversations around games like that. So I love it when they do things like that.
Yeah,
Like I think an extreme of that is Baldur's Gate 3, right? Where 7 is more of a lesser extreme. There's only a couple parts.
right. Yeah, I mean that is a great modern example of a game that does that, where people are talking about like, oh man, did you get the what? Oh, they do that? No way. Did you get humped by the bear? No, I didn't. You can get humped by a bear, you know, and like
Yep.
a druid. I'm sorry.
Is there a difference? I'm pretty sure even if you asked a druid, there'd be no difference.
No, I mean, what is even the reason to be a druid if you can't turn into a bear?
Exactly. Right. There's no difference.
On that note, literally, because we're talking about music, should we do a little something that doesn't have a cool background or a theme song called It Happened This Week in the 90s?
Oh.
What do you got?
So, I originally was going to do Metal Slug.
Oh,
but
so
we
wait,
just
so
talked
we're
about
not
a
the only ones who
controversy.
canceled SNK. this
Right.
week.
So I canceled Metal Slug, and so we have a different game.
Okay.
And this is a game that I think both of us would really enjoy. I think it falls into both of our wheelhouses. It's very vibrant colors. It's a 3D platform. Came out July 16th, 1998. I'm not going to say the platform because you might get it. But
I bet I can guess.
Let's hear it.
Is it Banjo-Kazooie?
No, but super close.
Because that was 1998, I think.
Yeah.
I have one more guess that maybe it's Spyro, but that's the only other guess.
It's not Spyro, but you're right there. You're right there in the same kind of spectrum.
If I'm that close, then oh man, it's killing me now. Can I take one more guess?
Yeah, go for it.
Was it Croc?
It's not Croc.
Okay, then lay it on me. What do you got?
Tomba.
Who?
Tomba.
I don't know Tomba.
So Tomba is a 3D platformer, much like Croc or Banjo-Kazooie, or I'm trying to think of the little lizard guy in his game.
Gex.
Yeah. So this was released July 16th, 1998, developed by Whoopi Camp. And you play this like pink-haired kind of cave person that's fighting these pigs in a way, but it also has an RPG mechanic to it. So it's like one of these platformers that has RPG elements. You get quests. It had over 100 different side quests. Super deep platformer. And the creator for this game, he went on to do other classic games like Resident Evil and Ghosts and Goblins.
Oh, okay. Obviously, titles we've heard of. Well, Ashen, if you like Tomba, have I got news for you?
Uh-oh. Oh, yeah.
Because there is a Tomba special edition on the Switch. Look at that. Probably
that's awesome.
I wonder if this is I wonder if this is a remake.
Yeah, if you like platformers, if you like RPG mechanics, man, definitely check out this game. It is a blast to play.
So it's funny that you're talking about RPG mechanics in a platform like that, because that's kind of the way that I mentioned Super Adventure Island 2 earlier. It took this stupid, Hudson Soft platformer, and it was kind of like RPG elements.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had to roam around. This reminds me of that a little bit. Probably the difference is the Super Adventure Island 2, I don't think was actually a good game.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think the Hudson Soft Adventure Island is that great. Like,
no.
It is a weird game too, because I remember playing it and it like having no real save points, but still being really long. So we had to like keep it turned on even when we went to school to be able to beat it.
Oh god, that just gives me like flashbacks of like Cat jumping on the Nintendo when you're, like, I don't know how many hours into Super Mario Bros. 3. I feel like Super Mario Bros. 3 was the first game that was really like, it needs to have saves, and it didn't.
Oh, yeah.
That's just so hard to imagine. And I actually, when I was a kid, I had a little color TV and a Nintendo in our, like, camper van that we would take summer vacations on. So we're driving all over the country, and I'm in the back of the van, Like, which is crazy back then to have a little full like CRT little TV in our van, but no seatbelt laws or whatever. So I'm on the back playing Mario Bros 3. I remember we got to our destination. I had to like beg my parents to like just leave the key turned halfway on so I could finish Super Mario Bros 3, and I finished it on vacation in the back of a van when I was.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Oh man, we should watch The Wizard one of these days together. Holy cow.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid. That would be a fun one to watch.
So when you're a kid and you watch Wizard, like the game stuff kind of shines through a lot. You're like, oh, video game tournament. They're announcing Mario 3. Holy cow, right? It's the first time North America's seen it. And that's kind of the takeaway. It's like a Nintendo advertisement, basically. But as an adult, when you rewatch it, it recontextualizes a bunch of stuff where the Nintendo stuff is just kind of the fluff, and the real story is about the parents and the kid. And it's wild to watch it again when you're an adult because you miss all that stuff when you're young.
I need to maybe make my kids watch that one.
Yeah,
we went through a phase during the pandemic when we watched all the kind of 80s classics, even the bad ones. So can't believe how did I miss The Wizard and all of that? We even watched the other Freds have it, the Little Monsters.
Oh,
but somehow missed Wizards, or the Wizard. Not to be confused with the Ralph Bakshi cartoon Wizards, which is probably maybe not the best one with your kids. They'll be like, "What are you, Dad? Are you on something?"
Oh no, yeah, no. So
right.
The platform this was released on was the PlayStation 1. So I intentionally left that off because I thought it would be too big of a hint for you.
I didn't, back then you were a Nintendo 64 or PS1, not both. I was, not that I wouldn't have loved to have a PlayStation 1 at the time, but, you could only afford one. I was a Nintendo 64 guy.
Yeah.
In the day, which means while you were playing Tomba, I was probably playing Banjo-Kazooie.
Well, I had an N64 back then also. So, but most of my N64 days, besides Mario, was Time Splitters 1 and 2.
Those
I think I played a lot. Yeah, Perfect Dark and Killer Instinct. And we used to have Killer Instinct tournaments in our community all the time.
Oh, that's awesome. God,
I know the non PvP guy doing Killer Instinct tournaments.
Well, who knows? That may be the backstory to like right? Why you're not a PvP guy. So I killed one of my friends and.
So, Killer Instinct 2, I actually got into kind of not necessarily trouble, but like physical trouble because I was too good at Killer Instinct 2 for my own good, right? Where it was really hard for my friends to beat me. And so we ended up having a tournament where, hey, if you win, you have to drink and not water. So
apple juice.
The loser got to choose which drink you drank. And so, at the beginning, I'm just beating all my friends. And eventually, the friends don't have to beat me anymore.
Yeah. I was, I never had the drinking game around it. Although at that time in my life, there was certainly plenty of drinking games. But I was kind of that way with Mortal Kombat 2, either on the Super Nintendo or in the arcade. Like, no one could beat me. And my cousin, who was a good gamer, like we gamed all the time together. Like probably one of the wildest accomplishments that we could do is we could co-op Contra on the NES without a death for either of us, which is insane.
That is insane. Yeah, Contra is one of those legendary games where one hit and you die. So being able to memorize the levels and avoid all the shots is dedication.
Yep. So we were able to do that, but even on Mortal Kombat 2, he could not beat me. In fact, one time I beat him 100 times in a row. We set up a counter, and I told him, like, you're not going to be able to beat me. He's like, well, I forget how the conversation went, but whatever we decided to do, we got to 100 to 0, and he finally just gave up.
He's like, I need to go home and practice this.
And he was a good gamer. I mean, I was so into Mortal Kombat 2. I've told you that I have like handwritten notes on like everyone's like fatality and babality and all that sort of stuff. Like I was so into it.
I love it.
I did have a couple friends who like I could compete with, but
I think us humans are kind of wired that way where like there's some games that really kind of resonate with us and we become really good at them. Like the level between our friend circle and what we do in that game just becomes huge.
Yeah, it's funny because I still play fighting games. I play a ton of Smash. I forgot we'd cross, because it keeps the stats. I think it was our 3,000th match on Smash Bros. And which is a lot of matches, right? And I would be surprised if I've won even 10 out of all those.
Wow.
My kids are just so much better at me. And one of them, my youngest, the 16-year-old, he absolutely just wrecks everybody. But it's funny because, like, and we're that way with Mario Kart too. So it's funny when we go play with anyone else who's like, oh, we're having a Smash tournament. And I'm like, oh, like I would play, but I don't think anyone can beat me. It won't be fun. They're like, yeah, right. And then I play and they're like, it's just no fun playing with you.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I went to a friend's house. They were having a Mario Kart tournament and like just no one can beat me. And it's like, it just makes it not even fun for them. So like, I told them like, I'm not even in it. Like I'll have fun watching you guys, but like, it's just not gonna be fun if I play. Like, not trying to brag. I just tell my wife this, and she didn't really think it was that much of a flex. But
that used to happen with me a lot too. Playing like I don't talk about this a lot because I'm not very proud of it. But one of the things that got me into getting platinums for games is a first-person shooter, and that shooter is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Well, it's a classic game, though.
Yeah. I ended up getting the platinum for that game. And nobody could beat me. Nobody. Like, we'd play death matches, you name it. Nobody could beat me. I just knew all the maps. I knew all the places to hide. I knew all the weapons. I knew all the tricks, right? And it got to the point where nobody would want to play with me anymore because I was too good at it.
Yeah.
And people would get mad. Literally would get, they'd call you out for hacking or cheating or whatever it might be. And so it in my head, I was like, maybe I should not. And to me, it wasn't try hard, but like the other people felt that was what it was.
Right.
So in my head, I was like, I need to make these matches closer. They need to not be such blowouts because nobody's having fun with it.
Well, that's the thing. And when people are doing that, they're doing those tournaments and stuff to have fun. And yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I've learned if I'm in a tournament like that, because most of my friends, it'd be like their friends and their kids and stuff. It's like I can have fun hanging out with them, watching them, because I'd rather like see who gets down to the end of it. And I'd rather enjoy watching a close match than just wreck everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm not trying to brag, but it's just that I've played a lot of Mario Kart. What am I going to do?
Yeah, and that's what happens, right? When you have a game that you spend a lot of time and invest a lot of yourself into, and it's a competitive game, it's just going to burn some people. It's just the nature of it. And so that's why I kind of stepped away from doing that. And like every once in a while, a game will have a trophy where you have to do PvP. You don't have a choice. And like I got the recent one. It was the Dragon Ball. I forget the name of it, where I had to do some PvP matches, and normally I just don't get that trophy. But I'm like, it's a Dragon Ball game. I love Dragon Ball. I might as well get a trophy for it. And I ended up getting messages, people pissed off at me because
I've seen those messages. You showed them to me. They were really mad. They accused you of cheating.
Yeah, it's straight up accused me of cheating. And so, of course, me being me and the type of person I am, I sent them a picture of the trophy I got for the game, and I was like, hey, at least I'm sleeping well tonight.
And then you're like, this is why I don't do PvP, because it brings this out in me.
Yeah, that's why I don't do it.
And I thought I always thought at first it was because you're a nice guy. It turns out it's because you're just a big jerk.
Yeah, I'm just a big jerk. Yeah, you messaged me on the PSN about cheating or whatever. Well, and you threw the gauntlet down, and now we're just going to have fun,
right? Right.
So I tend to stay away from it, and it's not because I don't think I'm good, right? Honestly, I don't. It's just if I have a goal and I want to get to that goal, I'm kind of one-minded on that goal, and I'll just keep doing it until I get to that goal. And if it's a PvP thing and I need to get good at the PvP in order to do it, that's what I'm going to do. And with that Dragon Ball game, that's what happened. I got good at the PvP, and it got people mad. So I tend not to do it much anymore. Anyway, do you have another? I forgot. We're doing this is this week in the 90s.
Oh my God, this is horrible. We're just hanging out talking about video games. What's wrong with us? What else? Do you have another one?
So I don't have another game, but I'm going, since it's summertime, I thought we'd revisit a thing, just an upgraded version of it. You happen to know what that might be?
Is this the very first time we did this? 2.5 months ago, 10 episodes ago. Are you bringing back the Super Soaker?
The Super Soaker, but this is a Super Soaker XD series. Yep, yep. Bringing back the XP series.
The Water Weenie theme song.
You know what the XP stands for in Super Soaker?
Extra water.
Extra water, no, close. Extra power. Because these Super Soakers, they like the new XP series. They ended up adding in like a pressure gauge, bigger tanks, bigger nozzles. Like you could really soak your friends with these. And
I remember those.
That's what I think the XP series is when I got my first Super Soaker, because I didn't have any of the older ones. But when the XP series came by, and it just, oh man, that's when backyard things really kind of.
I love the Super Soakers. I just remember we talked about this the first time, but when we would have like where I grew up in Eastern Washington, and you know it was a Four Seasons kind of area, but summer it was pretty common to be like 100, 105. So we had this like big event every year. Like people came from all over for this big rodeo, and like the town was just like all shut down, parades and everything. But like all the kids would have either Super Soakers, or people would go to the hardware store and they would buy surgical tubing, tie it at one end, and then you take the cap of a ballpoint pen and fit it in the other end, and put like a zip tie on it, and then you could jam that in the faucet, and the surgical tubing would pop up just like a clown balloon does, but really strong. And you'd fill it up, maybe like 3 or 4 feet, and then you'd wrap it around your neck like a fire hose, and you just put your finger over the pin cap, and you'd have a homemade Super Soaker. And they called them water weenies. Like everyone was running around with a water weenie. Oh man. And so like the hardware stores would run out of like that surgical tubing like in the summertime, so you'd have to like get in early to get your water weenie supplies.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Water weenies. Woo woo.
Yeah, it's almost like a water cannon from the beginning of the show that probably didn't make the cut.
Right. Yeah, I might have to bring back the cloud with the Super Soaker for the thumbnail this week.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to. You don't have a choice. So that means we did talk about 7, so it works out perfectly.
Oh, that's a perfect segue into our next section about what we played.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. So I have my staples that I'm still working on. So Final Fantasy Tactics, which I've beaten, and I started a New Game Plus. And the New Game Plus goal isn't necessarily to beat it, but it's to get all of the jobs leveled up and get all of the leftover trophies for it. So I'm hoping by Thursday I should have the platinum for that game.
Oh, nice.
So I'm super close to it. The other game is Night Swarm, which I recently platinumed.
Oh, so let me pull that up.
Yeah. So
people can see
Night Swarm is a vampire survivor, top-down bullet heaven type shooter. And it's a little janky, a little misses the mark a bit on the fluidity of Vampire Survivors, but still really fun, really engaging. I enjoyed it a lot.
It looks janky in the way you want.
Yeah, it's a good type of jank. Your little characters, got the platinum for this one, and it really quick platinum too. Like I expected to have to beat every level on Hell because it's got 3 difficulties. You got your normal, your nightmare, and your Hell. And I thought I have to beat every level on Hell to get the platinum, but nope, you only had to beat all but 2 levels. So once the platinum popped, I was like, oh, I have to beat the other 2 levels, even though I have the platinum. So I went and did that. But it's got lots of kind of RPG mechanics, but not in the way that you would think. It's more about your gear being leveled up instead of your character being leveled up, and some of the passives and upgrades that you get is really fun. They kind of combo all together in different ways, which I'm
looking at this game. I'm surprised I don't hear a bunch about this game. It looks like a type of game that would just absolutely blow up. I mean, it checks like every box for, maybe because people are starting to be maybe Hades, Vampire Survivor to death. But like Megabonk came out of nowhere when people were burned out on those games and was big. I mean, Megabonk was a little like this in that it's 3D, but I think Megabonk, I haven't played it, but I think the difference is you can actually move the camera like in a 3D game, where this looks like fixed perspective.
Yeah, it's top-down, isometric. Yeah, Megabonk's 3D.
3D Survivors like, or whatever you'd call it.
Yep. But yeah, if you're looking for just a quick, fun platinum, this is a great one for it. It took me maybe 30, 40 hours for the platinum. So
Well, that's not too bad.
quick, easy. Yeah, it's a fun game. I wish it had co-op, because it'd be a lot funner to play with my son.
Oh
But
yeah.
still not too bad.
You know, you guys should give the gauntlet that I sent you. Give that a try with somebody.
Oh
pretty
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
It's really
Definitely
simple. It doesn't have deep mechanics, but man, it's a fun co-op one. If you're just like, hey, you want to play a co-op game with me for an hour? And
It's
then,
a 2016 gauntlet, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus,
Cool.
I want you to be like, oh my god, I love this now. I need to play it more because then you'll play it with me.
I have the 2016 gauntlet on my PlayStation. I just haven't played it yet.
Oh, okay.
And then now I have it on the computer too, so which is great.
Yeah, because I bought it for you. I bought one for Haas because it had a 4-pack. It was, the game is like, I don't know. It was on sale for like $3.99 on the Steam sale. It was 90% off. And the 4-pack, even at full price, is normally like $69 or something like that. But the 4-pack was $5.99 or $6.99. So I'm like, oh god, for just like still under $10, I can get everyone a copy. So I got you a copy. Yeah. Put a copy in our family library so that I can play with my kids too. So.
Yeah, now we can all play it together when we get the chance to.
Yep. So you have another game that you put on the list that I hadn't heard of, and I looked it up.
CastleMania.
Oh my god! I about poo-pooed myself when I saw this. This is something that looks really hard but really amazing. Yeah, tell us about this. This is crazy.
Yeah. So I think this game came out last year, and I heard about it, but I hadn't played it or anything. But recently, I was like, I'm feeling a little nostalgia, but not in the way that I want to go back and play Mario.
Well, tell us what it's called, though, so I can.
CastleMania.
Okay.
And so I figured, it's a ROM hack, and it's not that hard to install and get ready to get set up. So I put it in, and so it looks like the original Mario, but it has the control of the Super Mario world, where you can pick up shells and throw them up and down. But the theme, the aesthetics, is Castlevania. So it's like Mario going through Dracula's castle with all of his Mario power-ups. You still get like the fireballs, and it is surprisingly difficult. It still has it doesn't have the hits that the original Mario Brothers has, where like if you're Fire Mario, you get hit, you go to Small Mario. It still has, you just lose your fire power to stay big. Okay. But man, it is brutal. It took me about 6 to 8 hours to beat, but it's worth every amount of time you put into it. Is worth it. It is hilarious. It is so good.
I kind of cheated because I found somebody who did a full playthrough and kind of scrubbed through it. So I've seen a decent amount of it because I know that it's probably too hard for me. And with all the games I'm trying to get to, I feel like I probably won't get to it, but oh my God, it was amazing. And we don't have it here, but watching somebody play through it with the soundtrack just takes it to the next level too. Obviously we can't hear it here, but
it even has tons of secrets in it. Like there's some secrets that are there just to troll you. You're like, oh, I found a secret, cool, and then it's like, the Rickroll, and it's weird because the first secret I found wasn't even the normal Rickroll sound. It was a Chrono Trigger Robo's theme.
Oh no, the Chrono Trigger. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think that's when I knew this was the game I had to play through and beat.
So for anybody who wants to play this, it's probably like you're not going to find this on Steam or anything, but
no.
If you're using is all you need is the ROM and just whatever your emulator of choice is, or do you have to do anything special? Nope,
that's pretty much it. Then you just go to the website and download it. It's quick Google search for it and it'll pop up, no problem.
Yeah, I googled it. I saw it pop right up. It's CastleMania instead of Castlevania with a V. CastleMania with an M for Mario. If anyone wants to, to look this up. Oh my God, it just looks so insane. I had put in the notes. I messaged you yesterday. I'm like, is that a typo or is that another game? Because I'm thinking it's probably a typo. I'm like, but I should ask just in case. And I'm glad I did because I wouldn't have found this if I didn't ask you to clarify if that was a typo or a real game. And as soon as I googled it, I'm like, holy shite, this is cool.
Yeah, and the game's got 2 modes also. I played on easy. I might go back and play it on hard, but I'm thinking maybe I'll play the second one before I do that because I heard the second one's got a lot more, like it's got like Castlevania power ups in it. Like you can get like the cross and be a cross Mario Bro instead of like Fireball Mario Bro. So that's kind of cool. But like, so it's got two difficulties. It's got your easy, I guess not easy, but like normal mode. It's still hard, but it adds saves so you can save your game. Or hard mode, you can't save your game. It's just one place where you got to get through it.
Gotcha. I love that people are putting the time and effort into this. I recently saw that, I'm sure you know about this one, but somebody's like, they've been calling, like, it's kind of like the thing that a lot of people are into is demakes, where you take like a modern game. Like, I think I'd seen one recently where somebody demade Mario 64 and has a pseudo 3D engine running on actual Game Boy Advanced hardware. Pretty impressive. But the one I saw somebody is demaking is Final Fantasy VII, and they said they're about halfway through it.
Oh, wow.
But so it's Final Fantasy VII, the story, all the enemies, even the right bosses for random encounters. Like, the detail is just insane, but it looks like Final Fantasy I.
Oh, I love it.
So it wasn't like they just like made it run on something. They actually are building it from the ground up, a pixel 2D Final Fantasy version of Final Fantasy VII.
That, I wonder if they're going to get in contact with the person who did Final Fantasy Renaissance, because Final Fantasy Renaissance is a cool kind of fan remake of the original Final Fantasy, but everything he remade himself. So all the assets, all the sounds, the whole 9 yards, and then they added a bunch of cool stuff into it, like different jobs.
Wait. Hold on a second. The Final Fantasy Resonance started as a fan project?
Renaissance.
Oh, Renaissance. The one. Okay, yeah, I'm a member on the Discord there. I know exactly what you're talking about. I thought you meant Resonance, and I'm like, there's no way that was a fan Okay. now what you're saying makes more sense. Okay. God, there's so many Revelation, Final Fantasy Doom Revelation, Resonance, Final Fantasy Renaissance. Like, it's so hard to keep up with.
This is Final Fantasy 1 Renaissance. It's a fan-made game of the original one, which adds all sorts of fun stuff to it. So if you're a fan of Final Fantasy 1, it's the definitive way to play it. Like, nice. Totally worth it. And it's free. Just gotta I think join their Discord to play it or something like that.
Yeah, I get updates on there every once in a while. It's one of those things I like keeping an eye on, but I'll probably never play it because I've, in the last year or so, played Final Fantasy 1. I have to get through all the other ones before I start doing, it's like we were talking about playing Baldur's Gate 3. Like, of course you want to play the vanilla version before you start doing add-ons and stuff. I'm kind of that way with that. All right.
And then the other game, I guess, is Wild Arms, but every Saturday I stream that one. It's Platinum Run, so tune in sometimes for it. It's a lot of fun. Been trying to figure out how to beat some of the bosses, but I think only one boss I've had trouble with so far, but I still luckily beat it because I had multiple healing options. But yeah, it's what was the last puzzle? I got stuck on this one puzzle where it was like an offhand NPC said something, and then I was like, okay, that's cool. He's scared of this. And then it finally clicked after, I would say, an hour and a half of wandering around this tiny dungeon. And I was like, oh, that's all you had to do.
Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, you're playing that every Saturday. Like I said, we talk about it a little bit every week, but every Saturday you're streaming it if anyone wants to catch that. Did you play anything else this week?
I think that's about it.
All right. Well, looks like we just have some people joining us in the chat. Oh, they missed the name of that tune. You might have had some help this time, Ash. All right.
Yep.
So I will, let's see, what did I play? Well, I'll get to probably my biggest accomplishment in a second here, but I fired up a handful of games this week. Probably the one that I spent the most time in was Cuphead.
Oh,
somehow I have owned Cuphead on the Xbox a long time ago when my kids played it. I never played Cuphead. I'd watched them play it a little bit. I always thought it was cool. I picked it up and was like, oh my God, this is really hard. This is super hard. But you know what? I finally decided I'm going to play Cuphead. But as you know, I recently put my homemade Steam machine under the TV, so I don't have my Xbox anymore. It was on the Steam sale, so I picked it up. Definitely, this is one of those games that if you buy a second time a few years later, you're not going to regret it because it's so good. I'm not great at these games, so I put about 3 hours in so far. I got through the first world. It took me a little bit to learn. There's like a jump parrying mechanic. That's kind of tough. Anything pink, if you jump on it again, you can like parry jump. There's a level where you have to parry jump everything to get through it. It's just a run and gun. I mean, it's classic. I don't think I really need to talk too much about Cuphead because it's an old game. Everyone's that wants to play it, except me, has probably already played it. Have you played it, Ash?
Yeah, I have played it. My son and I beat this game. One of the interesting things about it, besides the parry mechanic, is it's got multiple weapons you could choose.
Yep.
So depending on what level or where you're going, you can kind of decide, oh, this is probably a better weapon for that level. And so it's got some strategy to it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you know, it's not the first boss, but it's the first boss that presented a challenge, which is, you know, the classic flower boss that, you know, is like in the meme that everyone sees.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's when I realized, like, this guy right here. I realized, you know, it took me maybe 100 runs on that guy, but basically I was like, okay, well, if I'm up close using the spray or the single shot does the most damage, but you know, when he's moving around, like just having the spray out. So like I kind of got a strategy to constantly switch back and forth between the single beams and the spray. So yeah, there is some strategy on it. I'm not that far yet. Like I said, I'm only been playing about 3 hours, but this is one I'm going to continue. This replaced Disneyland Adventures as my go-to couch game. When I've got,
I love it.
You know, when the wife's is doing something and needing my help, but kind of intermittently, you know, and I've got 5 minutes off and on, I'll play Cuphead. It was Disneyland Adventures. Make fun of me if you want, but Disneyland Adventures was fun. I don't care what anyone says. But,
hey, if you enjoy it, we're not going to yuck anybody's yum here.
That's right.
Like,
so yeah, Cuphead. Let's see. What else did I dive into? Oh, I know what I dove into. This one might surprise you. So the reason I'm tired this morning is because I stayed up pretty late playing Palworld.
Oh, okay.
I finally did it. I've been looking at it forever, and you know, it's a crafting game, which is not really my wheelhouse. So, yeah, you know, I spent a long time in the character creator. This is actually me playing. So there I am in the character creator. I named my character Crap Bag. And I fired up a game. I don't know. Have you played Palworld, Ash?
I played it when it first came out, and my original thought was, oh, hey, look, it's Temu Pokemon. We got Pokemon at home. But with that said, they've recently done tons of quality of life updates. It's in a much better state than when it first came out. It is like, if you like the survival collecting of monsters type tropes, this is definitely the game for you. So
yeah, I was, you know, I think that was the thing. Here I am. I'm playing with my oldest here. So I had help. So we teamed up here. Yeah, it kind of started out like you said, oh, it's Temu Pokemon, and you could tell they knew what they were doing. It's almost like they were trying to get attention. And, you know, they've been through lawsuits with Nintendo, you know, I mean, I think everybody knows that. But it's kind of ended up going from Temu Pokemon to people saying, oh my God, this is what Pokemon needs to be. Like,
right.
Like Game Freak needs to watch this and figure out some of the stuff. You know, a lot of people also call it Pokemon with guns. I didn't get as far as getting a Pokemon with a gun, but, you know, we played, I want to say maybe like 2 hours last night. Which is kind of why I was running late this morning. I was trying to get my footage ready because I just captured it while I was playing. So there we go. I just got the pink guy there. You're seeing. I got a blue guy and a pink guy. I had a blue dummy and pink idiot, I think, were my guys. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, I don't play a lot of these crafting games, so a lot of this is kind of new to me. So a lot of these mechanics that seem like, oh, this is a good mechanic, is like, oh yeah, well, that's already in Minecraft and they did it better. I'm sure people are probably, you know, thinking that as I'm talking about this, but
there's a Pokemon mod for Minecraft, and that's pretty much what this is.
Okay. Yeah, I loved it. You know, once we had our base set up, you know, we've got, I'm like, I turn around, I'm like, where's Blue Dummy going? I'm like, oh, Blue Dummy's carrying a rock under his belly. Oh, Blue Dummy's, he's mining for us. That's what's going on. So from what I understand, it gets pretty crazy. I Googled it a little bit and kind of, you know, to find out a little bit more about it, but it looks like it gets pretty crazy. You know, you got like flying mounts and, you know, like the cities and everything, you know, and you get like guys running whole factories for you. We didn't get that far. However, my oldest and I, we were talking about maybe actually just getting a server that can be persistent online and maybe streaming it together once a week.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. And, you know, and if anybody wants to join us, that'd probably be fine too. I just got to find people I can trust. But it looks like there's a guild thing. So, a lot of these servers, if you invite somebody in your server, they can wreck everything. But this one looks like even if they're on your server, like I couldn't do anything until we actually joined the same guild. So you can manage permissions for like your guild and stuff. So, I mean, a lot of this is new to me. I'm not a huge crafter, but yeah, I'm definitely going to continue it. I think, like I said, we'll probably set up a server. I don't have a whole lot to say about it other than I finally started it. It was 1.0 and the sale tempted me. So what did I do? I bought it twice so that we could both play it, and I ended up spending the same amount of money as if it wasn't on sale. So I don't know if the sale did me any favors or not, but yeah.
It was a BOGO.
Yeah, right. Yep.
But I love that the game that gets you into crafting and survival is Palworld. That's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I know. Well, I did buy that other game. What's the Minecraft like one that I think I played it with Pinky on stream. I forget. I didn't really craft much, so I just was checking it out. It's like one that's in like early access or something like that looks a lot like Minecraft. I forget the name of it.
I remember you guys played. Was it you? And there was a really janky one that you ended up playing that was just running in place for NPCs. This is just bad.
Oh, that was Forever, the MMO Lite. Oh, Forever was an absolute disaster, and it had a parry mechanic while glitching nonstop.
Yeah, it was.
That one's early access. I didn't refund it. Though. Yeah, Forever is just more of like a light MMO. It wasn't a crafting game, but I am going to dip back into Forever after they get some updates. So I'm not going to refund it. I think it has potential.
Yeah.
It looks
keep
really
us
fun.
Informed for that one for sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What else did we do this week? Oh, I don't feel like I should even mention this, but I'm going to just because I messed around with it. I mean, what are we here for if not to talk about what we half-assed? And I half-assed this game right here, Deadlock. You're familiar with Deadlock, I would assume, right?
Yeah.
So Deadlock, for anyone who isn't, everyone's always telling Valve to hurry up and finish Half-Life 3. Well, the game that they've had in early access for a long time is their hero shooter. I don't know if hero shooter is the right term, maybe an Overwatch-like.
Yeah, hero shooter works, I think.
It's their take on it. And I fired it up. It's early access. You have to get invited, but anyone who's already playing can invite. So I had one of my kids invite me, and I just dipped in. I didn't actually fire up any matches because I got super overwhelmed. Like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to talk to people. I need to figure out a little bit more. So I'm not kidding. I spent over an hour just messing around with every single character in the practice lobby just to see what I liked.
Oh. Yeah,
so
see which character you like, which ability.
There's a vampire lady who can float with her umbrella. There's a punk rock Billy Goat. I love punk rock. I think I like Billy Goats. So maybe that's fun. I'd have to name him the Goat, the G-Goat, the greatest goat of all time.
The G-Goat, yep.
Yeah, the G-Goat, classic G-Goat. So I don't know. I've been wanting to try this game for a while. So when I found out one of my kids had it, I'm like, how did you not invite Dad? Come on. So I'm gonna play it. I think I'm going to play it, but like I said, I almost didn't mention it because that's really about all I did in it.
Do they have like NDAs for streaming it or anything right now?
I don't think so, because it's like, if you go to Twitch, it's already like it's always like a popular category.
Good.
It's already got like there's already people who've built a career on YouTube out of this game already. It's so big. I mean, it's huge, even though it's in early access. But it's so funny, if you go to the Steam page, there's not even any screenshots or anything. Like their flagship new game that's coming out is in early access, and they don't even have screenshots. It just says, Deadlock is a new game coming from Valve. Please be aware that some of the art is temporary, and all that sort of stuff. So
maybe that's the way. Maybe that's the way forward from now on, is not to promote your game much and just have shadow drops anymore.
Yeah, well, or Valve just knows that like they don't need to hype anything. Yeah. I mean, Valve could shadow drop Half-Life 3 in the middle of the night, and like, I don't even have anything good there, but something big would happen. People would wake up.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
But, I'd get a phone call if Half-Life 3 dropped. I'd get a phone call no matter what time saying, "Hey, Half-Life 3 dropped," and then I'd be up. It's almost like having a kid. You'd have to wake up and get to the hospital. You'd have to get up to get onto your computer.
My cats might wake me up. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
that's kind of it. I mean, the other one, I don't want to talk about it too much since I bring it up, since I've been playing through it. But the cool thing is about this game, about Final Fantasy VII, is guess what I did, Ash? Oh, you don't have to guess because you were there when I did it. I finished Final Fantasy VII, the OG Final Fantasy. OG. Oh my God, I've been talking. Oh my God, we've been talking for 2 hours. No wonder I can't talk. Final Fantasy VII, OG. I completed it. This has been such a journey. Like,
where's the congratulations theme? You got to push the button.
Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Congratulations, buddy! You beat Final Fantasy VII OG. I started out feeling like.
What happened to?
I started feeling like this when we started out, but but no. So I'll make it quick. So I was gonna play the remakes. You, along with everyone else, said don't be a dumbass. Play the OG first. And your final pitch for it, because I was like, oh my God, I didn't play this game when it came out. I don't have the same nostalgia for this, which I kind of feel like old games, if they aren't pixel art, I need to have some nostalgia for it. I know Mario 64 looks like ass, but I absolutely love it because it's one of my favorite games of all time. If you didn't play PlayStation back then, some of these games just look horrible and they're not charming. There's nothing about it that looks fun. But you made the final pitch and said, listen, if you're going to play Remake and Rebirth, you're going to get cut off before the story's done. And then this first thing you're going to do is you're going to go back and play OG 7 so you can see where it goes.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. So I started playing it. It was a little bit of a turd fest at the first day or so, but I got sucked into it. Now I see why this game is considered the GOAT of not just Final Fantasy games, but this is, you know, an all-timer. This is like one of the greatest games of all time, literally.
And almost primarily for the story, right?
Yeah.
The story for this game is a masterclass in storytelling. It is how they decided to put this together. I have no idea, but it works so well. And some of the decisions for the story were last-minute inclusions.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to playing the other stuff, but the thing that was kind of surprised me is, so this is the new Steam version, and there's even, you know, you can turn random encounters off, which, like I said, to me, said it before, I'll say it again, random encounters to me remind me of like trying to head to work, but you drop your keys like 3 times in the driveway before you even get in your car. That's just me. I don't speak for everyone. If people love random encounters, that's fantastic. I might have when I was younger, but, you know, it's time. I don't have as much time as I used to. So I appreciate being able to turn them off. And you were saying, don't play this game for how it looks, play it for the story. Well, there's also an invincibility mode. And I went into this game full on saying and telling, because there's a handful of people that were there for like every single session streaming this with me. And I made some new friends streaming this. But I went into it warning everybody, hey, there's invincibility mode. If I get to a hard boss and I die 5 or 6 times, I might turn on invincibility mode just to get through it, because I'm here for the story. Everyone says play it for the story before you play 7. And I ended up not using invincibility mode. If I got stuck, I would just do it again. And I didn't get stuck. I think I ground enough to keep my level at a place where I was comfortable. So I didn't even die on the final boss. I think all my characters are like mid-level 50 something.
Right? You were so invested in this game that you would grind off screen to make sure that you were able to continue on next stream.
Yeah. Yep. In fact, I would play during the week, and while you were streaming Wild Arms, I'd be chatting with you on Wild Arms while I was grinding Final Fantasy VII, because I'm not doing random encounters. You have to keep in mind there's a certain amount of XP you're not going to make. You know, when the Pixel remasters have a thing to compensate for it, you can turn on like 2 times or 3 times XP. This doesn't. It's invincibility or nothing. So if you're not going to cheat and use invincibility, but you're going to turn off random encounters, you need to make up for that XP somewhere. And the other thing I did is when I got to a new area, as long as I could remember, I didn't hit every area, I would turn the battles on a couple times so that I could see the enemies in every spot. So I wasn't like just not fighting. I just was turning random encounters off quite a bit. But I regret
some of the enemy designs are kind of cool and you want to see them. So
yeah. And you know, some of these, I ended up loving the way some of it looks. You know, like when some of the summons, like Odin, like rides in on his 6-legged pony, his catapony or whatever you call it, and like summon somebody up into like the sky and all this. Of course, when you summon a water enemy into the sky, I would question how the hole didn't flood, but whatever, right?
It's called magic.
Oh, magic. There you go. But yeah, I would say that it is easily. I'm not going to say it's my favorite game of all time. I'm going to say it's a top 10 game for me of all time.
Oh, wow.
And the story, I'm going to say it's a top 5 story of all time. And when I say a story, that includes books, it includes movies, it includes Battlestar Galactica. It includes all those. I couldn't rank my top 5. That means it's come
a long way.
Yeah.
From almost disliking it because of the way it looks to in your top 10, top 5 list. That's a huge way to climb.
Yeah. And I mean, I always knew the story was good, but there's that part of like, no matter how much people tell you it's good, you just don't understand until you actually play through the story, you know? And I'm so glad I stuck with it, you know? And honestly, I think if I would have just played Remake, Rebirth, and the new one, I probably would have still been like, oh my God, that's the greatest story. I don't think I would have been like, I wish I played the OG. But now that I played the OG, I feel like it's a rite of passage as a gamer that took me, you know, over 40 years to get to, or 30 years, whatever it is, right? And I like no regrets.
No regrets.
Nope. That's the theme of this podcast.
It's 7 is definitely one of those magical experiences for the first time where, you know, you're like, okay, it's an RPG. How good can it be? And honestly, especially since it's an older game, it can't be that good. And then you kind of get into it, and it kind of hooks you a little bit. And you're like, all right, maybe I can invest more time. Next thing you know, 50 hours are gone. You're like, okay, what ride did I just go on?
Yeah. Yep. So I never leave my games running on Steam. So my Steam, playtime is accurate. Because I'm really good about like, because it's hot, right? And a computer PC puts off heat and stuff. So I always shut my games down, even if I'm going to just take an eating break and come back. So my Steam playtime is accurate, and I put 69 hours into my playthrough. So, yep.
And that's including all the grinding you did, right?
Yeah. Yep. My save file says it's like 59. But, you know, like when you die and you have to restart something, your save file doesn't reflect that. So or maybe it's like 62. I forget what my save file actually says, but there's a discrepancy of around 10 hours or so, which is time that I died or didn't save properly or did something dumb. But Steam says 69 hours, and that's pretty accurate for my first playthrough.
So how much did you pay for this game?
I got it on a Square sale. I don't know. I bought the original version, and this one I got for free. I don't know. I want to say like $7.99 or something.
$8 for 70 hours worth of game. I'd say that's a really great deal.
Yeah. Yep. And, you know, I also have now, the last Steam sale, I went nuts because I said I'm moving. I've mentioned this before. And funds will be a little tighter for a while after I move and stuff. So I took advantage of the Steam sale more than I really ever have on a Steam sale, the summer sale. Stocked up on Final Fantasy and stuff. So I have Remake and Rebirth. I already had Remake from like forever. Because remember, I did buy Remake like over a year ago because that's what I was going to play first. So I went ahead and picked up Rebirth. And I have Crisis Core ready to go. I have a bunch of other Final Fantasy stuff, you know, obviously. So.
So then is Crisis Core going to be your next stream game?
I don't know. The next stream thing I'm going to do is I'm going to watch Advent Children. And hopefully not get my channel banned. Yep. You know, if I do, whatever. I'll take one for the team. Or maybe I'll just do it on Discord. After all that big talk, then I'm like, yeah, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll check it out. So yeah, Advent Children. I'm not sure if I'm going to do Crisis Core next, or if I should do Remake and Rebirth, and then play Crisis Core while I wait for the third one to come out. I'm kind of leaning towards jumping into Remake.
I think it's okay to jump into Remake and Rebirth and then do a Crisis Core afterwards. It's just know that Crisis Core has a lot of backstory for Zack that you might miss out on a little bit on Remake and Rebirth. However, some of the stuff in Remake and Rebirth with Zack is more expanded stuff that goes beyond what Crisis Core is, and you already kind of know what happened with Zack.
Yeah, I did get the 7. If I didn't get that cutscene, I might be a little more like what's going on. But since the chat when I was streaming encouraged me to go watch that cutscene, that was good. Chat was really good about not spoiling anything for me, being like, "Hey, open this computer here in this house. There's like a really good, you know, there's 20 minutes of lore you don't want to miss." So
Yeah, I think Crisis Core really just kind of drives home the story between Zack and Cloud and Sephiroth, and like there's some Loveless in there, which you've probably seen some signs with Loveless in 7. So there's more lore and history there. But the takeaway is, what you saw in that cutscene, and then that Zack and Cloud's partnership was more expanded in Crisis Core than what 7 gave you.
Right. So yeah, I'm not sure which direction I'm going to go. I'm leaning towards just firing up remake. And
Yeah,
plus,
I think honestly that's probably a good call. It's okay.
Yeah, because a lot of people have never even played Crisis. There's people whose favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy VII who haven't played Crisis Core, and it almost feels like Square released this version of the game specifically with what they're calling basically a story mode, where you have invincibility and unlimited limit break, so you can just spam your way through everything through the story. And they released that on the Switch as like a bundle when you pre-order it. It's almost like they're saying, hey, you should play through the old story first. It's like they want you to do that, but it's almost like they're okay with you not doing Crisis Core. I kind of feel like this is where Square is even kind of like hinting, like, it's like, I felt that them bundling this and putting a story mode was really them saying, you really should play the OG first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there it is.
And remake is supposed to be kind of this remake of 7 anyway, so it's probably going in thinking that you didn't play Crisis Core to begin with. So.
Right. And so, I'm not, I don't know. I'm well aware that like remake is basically the Midgar section of the game. Rebirth, like I know kind of where that starts and where it ends, but it's pretty crazy. I managed to not get spoiled. I had no idea. Like even when I got to the last fight, I'm not going to say anything, but probably doesn't matter. Everyone knows who the enemy is in there, but I was still thinking like there could be a spoiler, and this person I thought was the enemy this whole time actually could, come around. Square is pretty good at that. I mean, their villains often have a lot of depth and backstory. So I still, up until the final fight, didn't know who I was going to fight at the end.
And I think it's that way on purpose, right? Like the whole story, unless you dig really deep down into the story and the lore, it almost feels like you are fighting two bosses at the same time every time of the way. So I think it's designed that way on purpose. Sure,
which is again why it's just such a good story.
Yeah.
It's just crazy because it's just so stupid looking. Like, it looks horrible. I'm sorry. I know some people are like, think it's charming and, and I totally get that because I love old games that are stupid looking too. And I think they have charm. But this one, it just doesn't for me because I didn't play it originally. So it just looks...
There's a reason why mods are so prevalent for this game. Not only is it beloved, but people want it to look better. So they do a lot of, high def mods, and, they scale out some of the blockiness and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. And who knows, I might check out some of the mods just for fun. It'd be fun if I could load my save file up with mods or something, but I don't know if I can. But
some of them you can, some of them you can't. Depends on what mod you're using.
Yeah. I feel like I'm going to be busy playing Final Fantasy VII, the remakes, Crisis Core, probably Final Fantasy VI. At some point, I still want to play. There's going to be Beastmaster coming out on 14. There's going to be Nevercold. There's going to be... I still want to play Lies of P. There's so many games. Like, I just don't... I have a hard time imagining myself finding the time to play this with mods.
Monster Hunter Wilds expansion.
Oh yeah, my God! But I'm so glad that's not till like we don't even know the date other than 2027, so that's good.
Right.
Because at some point when that's about a month out, I'm gonna need to fire up my Monster Hunter save and put some time into that. I think Monster Hunter was my longest hours on Steam. I think maybe Final Fantasy VII may have beat it. I had like 60 some hours in Monster Hunter, which isn't a lot, but it's still, it's a decent amount. It's enough that I know I like Monster Hunter.
Yeah. Well, anytime you want to get caught up with the story, let me know.
Because there's some stuff it helps fighting with somebody else. Monster Hunter is one of those games that like people are like, oh, I played Monster Hunter, I didn't really like it. Well, did you play it with your friends? No. Okay, well then you haven't played Monster Hunter. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, Monster Hunter is definitely more of a social game, and like it's got pickup groups, so you can pug a lot of the monsters too, but it's not as fun. Yeah. You got friends to laugh at when they do dumb stuff.
Yep. I mean, we've had some of the best times in Monster Hunter, just like you helping me like farm some old stuff on my hunting list that I needed,
Yep.
So,
I love it.
So that's pretty much it. Man, that was a long show. I think that probably about wraps it up. I kind of like this order, doing what we played last and sticking the games in the middle.
Yeah, that way if people don't want to stick around for games that we played, they don't have to.
That's true. Yeah.
I like it that way. Yeah.
That is true. Well, we put chapters on everything, so it's pretty easy. It's funny, you can see, like, once we have an episode, that hits like 100 downloads or so, you can start to see where people have skipped around. You can see like the popular parts.
Yeah.
So once we get more data, I'm just for funsies, I'm always curious to know, like, what are people skipping to? Like, what are people's favorite parts? I love looking at data. Like, it's fun. I know I've been filling our Discord with, hey guys, I've been working on some like clips and like, and like working on, and like you guys are like, Haas is like, oh, that stuff's so cool. But you're like, yeah, this is not in my wheelhouse. I'm busy writing my book.
Well, it's funny because for work, that's what I do. I'm information systems analyst. So it's like, I'm having fun. I'd rather not.
Yeah. But it's funny. Like you and Haas both said, "Oh my God, you just spend so much time on this podcast. Like, is there anything we do to help?" And I'm like, I mean, one, I don't know what I'd get help on. I mean, maybe, but it's like I really enjoy it. Like I love podcast day because I'm gonna be here like making sure things are edited down, tweaking a few things, getting the thumbnail, getting a description. Like I'm gonna spend the rest of the day on that, and I absolutely love it.
Yep.
So it's fun.
And we appreciate you for it. We wouldn't have the podcast without you.
Well, thank you. Definitely couldn't do a podcast by myself. I think I mentioned this before. Like I wanted to do a podcast for years, but I know a lot of people can just sit there in front of the camera and podcast by themselves. I couldn't, and it's not the type of podcast I want to do because I just love, just talking about stuff.
I've seen some of those podcasts, and a lot of times it's one person just talking to the camera, scrolling through articles and things like that. And that feels yucky. Like I can just read the article myself.
Yeah. If you're doing it live and you've got like 100 people in chat and you're talking about it with them, that can be fun. But I like the format of like, hey, we're probably going to mess up and say some stuff that we shouldn't, but you know what? We're just having fun. We're talking. Like
call us out in the chat for things that we got wrong. I love that.
Yeah. Because I'm sure there's plenty. That's the nice thing about having a podcast with not a lot of people that download it is not a lot of people are going to call you out in the comments.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. We'll see. I plan to have this podcast in the top. No, I'm just kidding. I'm 100% kidding. No. At the end of the day, like it would be super fun, if there is a little bit of an audience that, grew and, the podcast did something that would be fun, right? Who wouldn't enjoy that? But when it comes down to it, we do this podcast because we love it. It's the same reason why I stream. I don't stream because I'm trying to become like some big streamer. I do it because it's fun, or I wouldn't have streamed Final Fantasy XIV to 8 people for a year,
Right.
It's because I love it. It's because it's fun. Because I'm going to be playing games anyways, and I'd rather be talking to people about them.
Yeah, that's the way we see it. Exactly.
Yep. All right. Well, should we wrap up there? Before we go, what are you doing, and where can we find you?
I am writing a book trilogy to be precise. That's not streamed though. My stream is for Wild Arms, and you can find me at AshenSugar at twitch.com.
Awesome. And you can find everything else, including where I'm streaming Final Fantasy often and some other games. And our other podcast. We have a Final Fantasy podcast. We do this again with our friend Haas. And we talk about nothing but Final Fantasy, mostly Final Fantasy XIV. In fact, it's a Final Fantasy XIV podcast called Chewing the Fat Cat. But yeah, buddycat.gg will find all of that stuff for you, whether you like Spotify or iTunes or wherever you want to listen to your podcast. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll talk to you next time.